I'm ready to vent.
All right.
All right, let me move this keyboard out of the way because I'm going to have room for all my notes that I'm going to angrily look at and reference. Welcome to another episode of, and I am one of your hosts, Shawn, and joining us also is
Thomas.
Charlie.
Previously, we looked at the special features of the Shout DVD for Transformers from the re-release. I want to say 2011, I think it was. And now we're looking at the Rhino DVD special features from the year 2001 or 2002. Good Lord, I have never seen such a disorganized special features collection in all of the DVD-dom. I can't even begin to describe. Like, I watch a lot of special features.
So what actually is there? So what is the entire package?
I watch a lot of special features, like on everything. Like, I think I just texted before this. I watched the entire Incredible Hulk and all those special features, probably 4.5. And a lot of it was interesting. Usually when you make a special feature, there's this thing in not just the DVD, but the writing world. It's called editing. I'm not sure if the people on this knew what it was. Okay, so if you look at the picture that I gave you guys, it's a picture of one of the first 7 screens for this special features. You start up the special features discs on season 1. This is the 4th disc, and it says the first special features are the restoration process, a frame-by-frame analysis, and remastering comparisons. These are the first 3. Tell us what this first one is, the restoration process.
It was basically their attempt at a really cool Star Wars opening scroll. It was so basically what it was describing a general, like, high level overview of the restoration process that they were going to use for this DVD and what has been used before with previous. I guess they were going from the film transfer from the original film to the broadcast masters. Then they talked about going from film to the I forget what is it, a beta, the digital beta master.
And then they talked about dandruff, like removing hair and dandruff from
Oh
the
yeah,
footage.
like actual physical particles. And I believe they had their own DVD master, and they were just basically it was just a high level overview, just explaining, like, you know, the pros and cons and of just going between those different transfers and stuff like that.
Yeah, and this is, and so it's like 5 minutes long, but it's a good description that I think is actually not only important, but
let me say one more thing. So
Okay.
so the one thing with it was, so they give you that general overview. So I don't know, maybe that would just be just not a video, just maybe some text there that you can just click through. So I mentioned the Star Wars scroll. That's how the text was presented to you. It was scrolling through their basically
For
Wikipedia article for 5 minutes. It was just a
Uh-huh.
long scroll of that. So it was just, it was an odd way to present that information.
Or someone could have just read it, or it could have been spoken.
But the one thing is, most of the time you buy a remaster, nobody tells you what they did. Nobody tells you the process. So immediately this starts out already catching my interest because they tell you where they all got the source materials. They're like, well, we didn't use the original TV broadcasts because they were too far deteriorated. So we went back to the original beta archives, and they say this one wasn't the finished aired product, but that's the one we used because it was more clean, and and a lot of people didn't like that. So I just thought it was interesting. They tell you like the whole process and why they did what they did.
It was interesting. It was odd to see it done that way. I think it could have been done a little bit better. You know, if they wanted to go over like their film transfer process, I don't know, show some video of that while you're talking about the broadcast versus the Betamax, the Betacam, show screenshot comparisons right then and there. They kind of give an idea of the pros and cons instead of just pure text.
I'll be mentioning this a lot because this is one DVD that got it right. Was Voltron, the first DVD release, is like maybe the first 12 to 15 episodes of the series. There's a whole video about the process. They take a camera to show some guy looking for the old tapes and acquiring them, and they're like, oh, well, all the tape has fallen off, and they're like, well, the audio is usable, but the video is gone. So they had to request the original video from Japan. Then they were like, well, then we had to get VHS copies of the airings and re-edit it to the way it used to look in America because the video was just gone from America. Like, it was just gone forever. Only the audio remained. They actually have a lot of video and show you a lot of the restoration process, and that was really cool
Yeah.
and interesting because that was the first time I've ever
sounds-
seen that.
Yeah, because I'm sure that they had the similar issues when they were doing this Transformer stuff. So, like, instead of just something so general and unspecific, cater it more to, like, what did you guys actually have to deal with?
And this was only, I want to say, 2 to 3 years after this DVD came out, that Voltron DVD came out.
So early. It was early. So
Mhm.
you couldn't really fault them that much. Everybody was still figuring out what to do with special features. I mean, many DVDs at the time did not come with special features. So.
Well, remember, 1997 was the original DVDs started coming out, and the first special features were always like, bibliography, see all the actors and their selected works. So-and-so went to so-and-so college, where he got his blah, 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 and then got nominated and worked on this. And that's like in every DVD from the year 1997 to the year 2000. Nobody cares. And so they stopped including that on every DVD and Blu-ray from like 2000 some and beyond.
Mm-hmm.
What about really dull bloopers? Sometimes bloopers are good, but yeah, I've seen some really bad blooper reels that were just like, okay.
They had bloopers here in this special features, and I watched it, and I was like, this doesn't seem like anything to me. I don't know what I'm looking at. So
We'll get to that. I'll tell you where the bloopers actually are in that mess of footage, which is also editing is what you need to do when making a DVD. They did have one error, though. In the text crawl, they actually say this is what audiences experienced for years. And I'm like, well, actually, no. If you're showing the original unaired masters instead of the aired masters, then that's not actually what the experience that everybody has had, because they're watching the original footage before someone edited it and said, all right, we need to make these minor changes before broadcasting on TV. Oh my God, I just realized how funny that is in relation to this DVD.
Well, they might have been talking about like the actual quality and not necessarily that the edits.
Okay, so on to the second one, frame by frame analysis. What is this doing here in between restoration and remastering? It isn't part of these two and doesn't connect. And why is it here? So basically, it's just 40 seconds of some Autobot shooting Shockwave in the back, and that's it. But it's in like super, super slow-mo, so you can see every single frame. I mean, it was cool that you see how much they put white background to imitate laser blasts between the background.
Yeah,
but I'm also like, why is this here? This has nothing to do with the restoration process other than to show this is how good it looks now for a few seconds, frame by frame.
Nothing was explained.
Yeah, and they are comparing it like they will in the next special feature.
Yeah, they probably didn't have anywhere. Well, I don't know. I don't know. I haven't seen the menus for all of this, so I was gonna say they maybe didn't have a good spot to stick it. There is nothing to do with restoration with that. It's just here. Here's what each frame looks like individually. If anybody's interested in seeing just a clip slowed down by each frame.
I'm posting the menu screens as we get to them. So that's what the first one looks like. So now we get to, I guess, the meat. A lot of the huge, how long is this remastering comparisons, Charlie and Thomas?
Was that 45 minutes or was it 19 minutes? Can't remember. It was too long for what we were seeing. chunks of episodes.
It was 48 minutes long.
Yeah, played side by side, showing the quality difference, which I do like the older version just because of the subtle colors and the softness of it. It just has a different feel, but
Mhm.
Yeah, I mean, I don't need to see lots of the footage to like kind of get the impression of it. But
That was my issue with it. I'll skip these positives for now. So you see how the color is deteriorating, right? Like, so you look on the right screen. So the first part is a split screen, and you see the left is the original beta digital stuff, and the right side, the right half of the video you're watching is the original aired version. You can clearly see color deterioration on the right because Optimus is supposed to have blue limbs, and on the other side, he's got like dark blue or gray because the
right.
color has faded. And like Brawn was supposed to be green, but then you'll see he's brown because the color is faded. The same with Ravage is now gray. And sometimes even the water is freaking green instead of blue because of the color deterioration. So some of that is good because I'm like, okay, this is kind of cool. And then I realize it's 50 minutes long. And I'm like, okay, now I'm losing interest. I'm like,
Yeah, I mean, outside of the length, well, the length is an issue. They could have kept this 10 minutes max or something like that. But outside of the length, I mean, it is interesting to see like, what they were actually working with and the visual quality between the three different versions. But watching that, Charlie mentioned exactly as I was getting through to like minute 30. The difference between all of these is so Shawn just mentioned it. So the original broadcast master, the colors definitely look washed out compared to the digital beta cam that they did. So the digital beta cam is so much more saturated, and at first glance you think, okay, that's good. This is the colors are actually there. Like people look the way that you expect them to look. But as you go through some of these scenes, you notice that okay, some of this stuff is actually oversaturated. You
Yeah, it's
you
freaking
lose
bright.
some of the shadow detail.
There's no
Like
contrast.
yeah, there's some of the shadows that you see, they get completely blown out in the digital transfer. So the digital transfer, the beta cam is actually not perfect itself. I mean, they didn't show enough DVD master footage, but the bit that they did show, it definitely looked much more improved than the film transfer. So they went back and like I don't know, restored even some of that shadow that
yeah.
uh
Well, here's the
that the
thing
beta
is,
cam lost.
it's easier to color correct with the good colors. It would not be easy to try to color correct the faded colors. That's what they had to work with. But what I don't understand is referencing Voltron again, why didn't they just take the extra time to edit in scenes so that then the master matched the actual TV broadcasts? They didn't. I know they did a lot of work remastering it, but then they didn't take that extra bit to make it because there's so many animation errors. And here's the issue I have with this special feature. So they even state in the opening text crawl the beta had a lot of errors. They were unaired because they were still errors in them. So there's missing scenes. They only show like
So did you say that they
they
were incomplete? That they mentioned that some of the stuff was incomplete, the beta?
Yeah, because it's not finalized before going to air, but these were the best quality material to base the remaster on. So I'm asking, why didn't they take the extra effort to add back in the animation, try to match it, to add the scene that's missing, to rearrange the scene that's flipped by accident? And so, like, they didn't take. Okay, so my first issue is I'm asking why they didn't do that. That's not my issue. My main issue is why didn't you show any of this in this 50 minutes? Like
Yeah, so you're
in the
saying that, and I'm like, well, what do you mean? Like they didn't really show. Like I didn't notice a lot of the DVD comparison
and
that
so
they
you
show because they just didn't show it. It was always the beta cam versus the broadcast master, which is okay. I get that after 30 minutes. Yes, come on.
yeah, in the second and third minute, there's a scene where Ironhide flies after the Decepticons, and you see that there's missing scenes, and then there's a still frame because they're missing animation, and so that's what I was looking for and what I like to see in a special feature. They're like, oh, see all this. This is what was missing and what we had to work with, but you can see when we'd originally aired, it was corrected. But then they go on for the next 20 minutes not showing any of that and just showing comparison. Like the fun stuff to see was like the Skyfire episode and the Dinobots episode because you can see the Dinobots have these laser eyes and they shoot some rocks and they disappear on the broadcast. But then you look at the Betacam master and they're just making noises and there's a laser outline around the rocks, but then the rocks don't disappear and the Dinobots don't have laser eyes. So then you're like, what the heck happened? Which I remember we actually asked in our podcast of that episode. So there you can clearly see.
Okay, so did
It's
that? So
problems.
that's what I didn't know, because I saw that and I was like, okay, because they don't explain any of this footage. It just, you click
Yeah.
play and it just starts playing. So that's what I was confused about was, okay, the digital beta cam, it's not clear that that's, you just took that beta cam and put it straight into the DVDs, because some of the segments say DVD master explicitly. So I just assumed that, like, okay, why are you comparing so much of the old stuff? What is the final
Yeah,
product?
we're not looking at. So it even says, and the title was annoying too, because it says remastering comparisons. I click on it. At first, I think the left is the DVD remaster and the right is the original air date. And then I'm like, wait a minute, that text in the corner says Betacam and original.
Yeah,
And
so that's why I was like, okay, so yeah, it's they're showing so much of the old stuff, but of the 50 minutes, you probably get like 2 minutes of final footage comparison. But there's probably like, I don't know, 40, 50, 60 scenes that they go through, and only like two show are representative of the final product.
and the weirdest is the first 5 episodes are done in split screen, half and half. But then episodes 6 through like 12 are done with small screens, like left and right, and so you can see the whole picture just smaller.
So yeah,
And
so
then
it's
when it
called
gets to the
checkerboard.
last
So they,
3 episodes, they're just like F it, and they're like sub squares mixing into each other, wavy line, and it's hard to focus on the difference. And I'm
yeah,
just like, did you guys just
that's
start
when I
playing?
stopped watching it. I was like, man, this stuff is outrageous, because it was like a squiggly. One of them was a squiggly line down the middle. Instead of just having one half is this version, the other half is this version. It was a squiggly version all the way across, which I get. I guess certain scenes, to do a clean split down the middle, it wouldn't really be as effective, but the squiggly line down the middle was just too much. And then they went with the checkerboard. The checkerboard was so scattered, I couldn't even tell, like, okay, where do I even begin to process this comparison? It was just so bad, and I just stopped. I was like, okay, that's enough of this. I didn't watch the whole 15 minutes.
Oh, you made it half an hour though, or 35
I didn't
minutes.
really watch a half an hour. I probably watched about like 20 minutes. Really.
Oh, okay. Charlie, were you able to get through this entire thing, or did you skip around too?
I just kind of popped through it. I had to go on to the other items, which were more interesting. But I
suffered alone.
oh, I just didn't understand. I was like, okay, I have to watch this entire. Well, I started watching one. It was like a chunk of an episode, and then it like started another piece of a different episode, and I was like, okay, yeah, that's not gonna be fun to watch.
Yeah. You don't, like the thing we just mentioned, you don't see any of those differences. Like they purposely went out of their way to avoid the missing animation and all the problems. Like, because there's one or two where I see someone's colored, the black transformer is colored green for some reason, but then he's actually black on the aired version, and I'm just like, but unless you're paying attention to every scene, you're not going to notice little things like that. I need a second to make sure I didn't forget any other rant that I need to talk about.
Well, maybe we should go back through this whole frame by frame, or sorry, remastering comparisons video.
No.
And just do a whole podcast on that. Just watch
No.
the whole freaking thing and look for the differences that matter.
Oh, Charlie, it's like you and I, we all know what to say to make Thomas go into an induced rage.
Oh, goodness.
It's like, oh, look, Optimus Prime is slightly gray in this one, and he's blue in this one, and
Yeah. Oh, I almost forgot the biggest mistake, because this happens 3 times. They say episode 12, and then they put part of episode 13 in it. Then you go to episode 13, and that same scene, episode 13 again, that was just in episode 12, they put it in the wrong place, and so it's duplicated twice. So this really is a 40-minute episode, not a 47-minute, because they do that 3 times.
Oh no, that's even worse.
Yeah, 2 full times, another half time where they didn't put the whole scene in. And I'm just like, they did not edit this. Nobody looked at this again to go, wait, didn't I just see this? And one of them is clearly the end of episode, like, whatever, and then clearly starts the beginning of the next episode. So there's no way you could have watched this and not missed that.
The thing is, I don't know if they're expecting you to watch the whole thing.
But I'm just, oh my God, like we're only on the 3rd special feature. I'm just like, edit your stuff. Don't be like Anne Rice and just say, I'm going to put whatever I want out there and not care, okay?
Well, it's like, have you ever watched the old Three Stooges cartoon? They usually would have a chase scene a couple times in the cartoon, and it would be like the same desert background, like looping over and over or something. Same cactus going by many, many, many times. I think they did that in Scooby-Doo as well.
I was gonna say a bunch of Hanna-Barbera stuff.
Yeah,
Yeah.
just they do the same chase scene like more than once sometimes. And you're like, okay, I've seen enough of this, and yeah, okay, the kids have run to the left and the right side of the screen too many times. Let's move on.
So I will end on the first 5 minutes or so when I started taking positive notes. So we'll end with some of those. When I originally started watching this, I didn't realize it was that long, and I was like, okay, this you can tell like the sky looks a lot brighter and colorful. The same with the African Arizonan. Geez, my notes here. Rocks on the ground. I put there's a sharper image on the beta cam, so you can see why they chose that. I was like, ooh, the purple architecture is even darker because I love my color purples. The shaking of the film is actually minimized on the beta cam as compared to the aired TV broadcast, which is another positive for the beta cam. Also, the color bleed over the black lines and the fuzziness is not on there as compared to the TV broadcasts. Some of the TV broadcasts seem to actually be in good quality, but not many of them. What do I have here? So they show the full season 4 opening, and there's so much color in the sky, it's like completely removed from the aired master. And I'm like, what happened to all the color? And then I guess I end on a negative or a positive. So the right side of the screen for every episode has more white saturation, as if the color white just saturated everything over time. You can really tell just looking at any of these. Like at points like where Starscream's face should be black and gray, instead it's black and white because all the grays have become white now. So yeah, that's it. And I did have a question. They say 1-inch air master, right? I don't understand why they say 1-inch broadcast master. Does that mean
It was probably the frame of film. It was the film strip. I mean, it's going to be 1-inch frames, but when you project it, it gets bigger.
I'm just wondering how big the beta cam was. Was it also 1 inch, or was it bigger, or was it smaller? They don't actually compare it to that, or maybe they did in the text scroll. But anyway, I wanted to end on some positives after my rant. So these were just fun things that I watched the first 5 minutes till I just suddenly lost all interest, but my OCD forced me to watch the whole thing.
So yeah, that was I think we kind of covered all the stuff that I thought was noteworthy. I did want to ask you some questions about the Japanese features.
Oh, we're getting to that. Okay,
we're gonna go back. All right.
So special feature 2. So there are 2 things to watch. It's called domestic bumpers and Japanese bumpers. I'm assuming that this whole page is just all my notes on the restoration process because that's how much I had to say about it. So anyway, have you guys watched domestic bumpers?
I have not watched the bumpers yet.
So let's take a break and watch it. And I want you to think what you just watched.
So those had that. Honestly, they're kind of typical of anime bumpers. It had this Ixer 3 kind of feeling, or like it was just loaded with that anime kind of angst,
So first, for the domestic bumpers, Charlie, what DVD are we watching from?
Hopefully this same DVD.
This is the season 1 Transformers box set of episodes 1 through 16. What are these domestic bumpers?
So that's why I just rewatched them just now again because it seemed like you really wanted us to watch them. The first time I watched them, I'm like, this is all new. Well, new to me because I haven't watched the first season. This is all later season stuff.
Yeah.
Like, I recognize Rodimus. I recognize the Destructicons. I don't know what the city thing is. I don't know. Metroplex. I have no idea.
I guess I didn't
Triptychon?
recognize all the characters. I've seen Dinobots, but I'm like, what's going on here?
Yeah, these are all the bumpers for season 3 on the season 1 DVD.
Oh, okay.
They put the wrong bumpers on the DVD.
Well, the music was familiar, so I just kind of let it go. I was like, okay, yeah, that sounds like early Transformers to me, but
Well, are there any special features on the later seasons?
Yes.
Oh,
All of
okay.
them, all 4 box sets have special features for Rhino and for Shout Factory.
Okay. Then I don't know. Do they all have domestic and Japanese bumpers on all of them, or did they just shove everything on this one?
They all have different special features. So, Charlie, we actually reviewed the Shout Factory DVD special features previously, and they basically had a 20-minute documentary about how this was created, followed by a television script for one of the episodes you could read on the disc if you put it in your computer. And I think like 3 advertisements and a PSA about don't run away from home. And that was pretty much it. It was like really light on special features. But this one has a ton of special features, but it's almost worse with just how unorganized and everything it is. So this is the second special features. It says Japanese bumpers. So I'm assuming you don't really have much knowledge about the Japanese Transformers, correct?
yeah, I've never watched it, so I don't know much about it. The weird thing about those was it looked like it showed different seasons or different iterations of it, like towards the end. So I was like, what's with the little guy that looks like Alex Kidd or something, standing next to Transformers?
That was the problem with this. It says Japanese bumpers as if we're expecting to see how the Japanese made their own bumpers for season 1, but instead
they're just random Japanese bumpers.
So after Transformers ended in America, Japan picked it up and made 3 more television series that followed the continuity of Transformers season 1, 2, and 3. And they were called Transformers Headmasters, Transformers Super God Master Force, and Transformers Victory. Those are the 3 series, each with 40-some episodes apiece. And that was the trilogy of shows that were made in Japan as sequels to the American Transformers.
Are they available?
What do you mean, on DVD?
Yeah, officially.
Yeah, they actually have been officially released recently. In fact, Europe actually released the Headmasters DVD with the horrible big green dubs of them or whatever.
Okay. I thought you were going to say the horrible claymation Optimus. I was like, no. The Headmasters part sounded familiar, but I think that claymation thing was a repackaging of the American seasons, the first seasons.
I'm trying to think. I'm getting confused with Dragon Ball Z because Dragon Ball Z is like the big green dub. So I'm trying to remember who did the dub for Headmasters, which is just really, really awful that you've been wanting to watch forever too. It's like, I forget if it was made in Brazil or South America somewhere, and it's just like the worst dubbing, the acting. It's hilarious. But anyway, these Japanese bumpers are the bumpers for Master Force, the second Japanese series. Why? What purpose do they serve being here? It's not even the same show.
That was
that would be,
that they could find, I guess.
Why isn't there not like a Japanese section at the end where it's like, here we found Japanese Headmasters, Master Force, and Victory bumpers? No, just random Japanese bumpers. And this is the year 2001, before people had much internet.
Yeah, this is early on in the internet days, so people would see this and they would be like, oh, well, these bumpers are for, the G1 series.
Yeah. I mean, but
so like, the way that they put these are completely different series technically. So like, you might as well just throw on the CG Beast Wars or Transformers Prime. Basically doing the same thing.
Yeah. I like that there's like, there's some things, I just wonder if there's something they don't make chibi, but that chibi Transformers thing towards the end was
that's the ending theme to all 3 seasons is chibi theme songs.
That's just the icing on the Japanese bumper cake. It's just
oh
man.
Let's go to page 3. And you can see on page 3 here we have outtakes and false starts and anomalies. So my note for outtakes actually says, what? and actually in a square says ignore. They don't have to watch for the both of you. Like, so it's 13 minutes long, and I wrote boring until the 2-minute mark where they actually show you mistakes. Mistakes such as Laserbeak being as big as Skywarp, Skywarp not moving but running to the edge of the screen, and then all of a sudden bumpers. Why are these bumpers here? Why are they the season 3 bumpers we just watched in the domestic bumpers? And then season 1 bumpers show up, and I'm like, you had season 1 bumpers. Why are they not in the domestic bumpers section? Oh my god. Like, all the season 1 bumpers are there. Why are they not in the appropriate section? Oh my god.
Well, what also makes it kind of confusing is that in between these scenes, they have, I guess, the production material signage, like the whatever
notes
system
and
they
all kinds
use.
of crap. Is like,
Yeah, because I'm just like, what is going
why?
on?
Why are we looking at that?
Did you guys watch this?
Yeah, I don't know.
I tried to watch. I tried to watch everything. This one I couldn't get through.
I only told you guys to watch 1, 2, 3, and then 1920 to save time, and then I was going to tell you to skip this one as I watched these for outtakes.
I don't even know what the outtake part of it is. The outtake is just that they took it out and they made a note of it. Like, no, not that one.
I was kind of curious. I was like, how do you, like, what real outtakes would there be? These aren't humans. Like, Megatron didn't flub his line, so like.
That's what I thought would happen. I thought when I clicked on it, it would be like, Frank Welker making like a mistake, or making a mistake.
It's like animation outtakes, and
Yeah,
I'm like,
yeah, like,
okay,
this animation didn't work,
what does that
so
mean?
take it out.
The Japanese studio being like, we're not using that. We don't need that. That's a crappy transformation. Let's not use that. Nope.
But yeah, and it didn't make sense why they were showing all the bumpers again. Every single one we just saw in the domestic bumper is back here, sometimes twice, and I don't know why. And I'm like, I can't tell the difference if they made any changes. The only good things were like 2 to 4 minute mark where there's actual errors, and the very end where you see Rumble is the same size as Skywarp, and they accidentally loop the whole thing for 7 seconds, so they made a mistake. But otherwise, I'm like, why? This should have been 3 minutes long, not 13.
Yeah, there's definitely some context that would be needed to actually know what the mistakes were with some of that stuff. Some of the stuff is kind of obvious, somewhat. Some of the stuff is like, okay, here's a tank driving. All right.
Yeah, and so here we go back to a good special feature, anomalies. Somebody actually took the effort to make a good special feature with this one.
I mean, I wouldn't say good.
Well, based on everything we've seen now, it's freaking gold, okay? But have you watched Anomalies? Because it's cool, because it'll play for a few seconds and then freeze with an arrow that says continuity mistake, or this Energon cube wasn't colored in, or it'll be like, here's the line.
Shadows disappear, or explosions were not complete, so they have like basically the draft lines that say like this is where they should be.
This is like the stuff you need when you make a special feature. See, they have context.
And guess what? Guess what? They have footage from the master comparison that they did originally, the 50-minute feature. Some of that footage is in here, and they actually explain it and do it right. So they knew that they could do better. They did it for this, but then they were like, well, hey, guess what? Here's 50 minutes. I'm not going to waste my time going through all of this. You figure it out.
They could have just put this better part first, maybe. Like, and
this could have been
put the other stuff towards the end.
You didn't even need that whole 50-minute scene. You could have just taken it all out and had this. This is what people would remember, the anomalies. Because this is actually fun, because it's like, hey, look at these blotched lines. Look at this guy's hair that's left in the animation frame. Here's just like continuity mistakes. Here's an unfinished artwork. It was just fun. I actually enjoyed watching all 13 minutes of this one. Like, it was actually fun to watch this one after all the crap that's been angering me.
Missing energy, like black cubes that don't have any, they're not lit up. they're not pink. Wrong color crotch. It wasn't supposed to be green. It was supposed to be yellow. But
so this is where we get all those, I guess, clips with here's the animator's hair, here's his dandruff. But there were actually some in here that were kind of weird, because they were like they were mostly still shots, like a frozen frame. You could see like the human hands holding like a slate or something. But then the scene is animating in a corner of that still shot. And I didn't understand like what was happening there. That was odd to me.
I don't remember now. I think I was just so excited about the stuff that was fun, I forgot anything else.
I'm
I
gonna
don't know
take
why
it.
they're showing the part of the
fixed.
film reel with all the scribbling and notes on it. Brrrp, like, you can't even read it. It's like so fast, but it's like, why even show those parts? Just cut them off.
Oh yeah, I even write, why is there so much special feature 3 if this exists?
So like the part with the actual transformer that animates, but everything else is still.
Well,
So
that's the
yeah.
bumper from season 3 used a third time.
I like this comparison with the broadcast master where there's a guy on the ground and his ears start flashing, but on
Little
the
Jack.
new
Oh, yeah.
beta cam transfer, it's just subtly flashing like olive green to like a lighter green or something. And then on the other it's like really bright like it should be, like light bulbs flashing it.
Yeah, any of those effects where there was like glowing and stuff like that. So like the computer screens, the Dinobots were looking at like a big rock that was like flashing and like glowing. Everything like that with glowing effects, it was all just flat in the beta cam footage.
Yeah. And that's why
That's
like we have
sad.
so many issues when we watch these episodes, because we are watching the Rhino DVDs and we're always like, what happened? And now we get into more
I usually enjoy textless openings. I mean, and
but
end credits if
what
they're
is the textless opening from? You don't know what any of this is going to be because the text doesn't match.
That's
Uh,
right.
So I want you all both to look at the textless opening and tell me what it is. Is it the textless opening from Transformers Season 1?
Many millions of years ago, on the planet Cybertron, life existed. But not life as we know it today. Intelligent robots that could think and feel inhabited the cities. They were called Autobots and Decepticons. But the brutal Decepticons were driven by a single goal: total domination. They set out to destroy the peace-loving Autobots. And a war between the forces of good and evil raged across Cybertron, devastating all in its path, draining the planet's once rich sources of energy. The Autobots, on the verge of extinction, battled valiantly.
Yes.
Yes. Okay.
You said that's from the show.
It's basically the first 30 seconds of the original first episode without all the text that says the Transformers written by, blah, blah, blah. Basically the entire opening sequence without all the text. So, okay, we got one right. How many more on this page do you want to better also write? Charlie,
2.
There are 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 special features on this page, and I think a good 4 on the other. How many on this page alone, on special features page 4 of these 5 special features? How many more of the 4 we have remaining do you think are going to be correct as to what they say in the text?
I'm thinking about the ones that might go dangerously astray, like the opening credits domestic. That might not be good.
Thomas,
Or
what is your
why
guess?
what's up with season 3? Why did we skip over season 2?
I think you'll find out once we get there.
Oh, okay. I'm already sensing something bad.
Okay, so let's start with textless end credits, and we'll see what this is.
I'm done. Was that legit?
So these were the end credits for season 2.
Oh, well,
That's why there's a guy in a tank. There's all these characters that are not in season 1.
I don't understand why in the actual DVD, like the actual special features menu, it lists each one of these features. So most of them, they don't specify what season they are, but the opening credits for domestic season 3 says season 3. All of these other ones are for random seasons. Why not say what season they belong to?
Well,
Like,
hold
why
on.
is only season 3? Why is only opening credits for season 3 labeled season 3 when you have season 2 stuff here too?
That hurts. When I look at that, I feel the pain of other bad special features where I'm like, yeah, why do we get to see this? Or go figure.
I mean, I don't mind that it's different or from later seasons all on the one DVD. That's not the problem, really.
But it hurts when there's not the other ones. It's bothering my OCD. I've got to have 1, 2, and 3, not just 2 and 3 or 1 and 3 and 2 and 5. That's gonna bother me.
It is a random mix, and then they're not labeled properly. They're not labeled at all except one.
So there's textless opening, episode 1. Let's see what that is. Thomas, you should recognize what it actually is.
I mean, this looks like G1 stuff.
Where have you seen this before the last 16 times?
I mean, I don't remember seeing this much at all.
This says textless opening, episode 1. It is the ending credit sequence for all season 1 episodes.
Oh, wow. That's
okay.
That's even more wrong than I was expecting. I didn't. They would get it that wrong, really? Huh?
Instead of the Transformers, like you would think that the
that music.
song,
Yep, that I definitely recognize that music. I mean,
there's
the
no
music
credit.
Is definitely...
It's instrumental. It's the instrumental ending for all the season 1 episodes.
Yeah, so that's why I got the vibe that I don't remember this being part of the intro because the music is absolutely like this is what we use for the end of the show.
Yeah,
I think all of these are like this.
All right, so opening credits, domestic.
All right, I've seen enough of this.
Yeah, I can't help myself. I'm like, what the 80s dog pile is that?
What do you mean? What's wrong?
Well,
the
opening...
music it is like
yeah,
it's like rebooted.
That's
into
its own.
some...
It's its own creature. The problem is that it's not the right creature for the actual title.
Yeah,
it's one of 2 theme songs opening for season 3.
Yeah, it basically presented as the overall series opening credits.
Yes. So then there's also opening credits domestic season 3.
That definitely had a season 3 feeling to it. That whole sequence I just saw.
Yeah,
that's like, let's amp this up with some 1988 awesomeness or whenever it came out. It's like,
yeah, it's just like the trans, like someone's spinning a record,
like a bunch of taiko drums and like Spike's upgraded and like it's like yeah.
Yeah. So what do we got here? Is this opening credits for season 3 correct when we just watched season 3's opening?
Oh no, I don't want to know. Wow, is it just me or is that one even more amped up?
I think it's the same music with just different animation.
I
So
like the,
I-
the
it was even
animation is a lot
more,
better though.
like,
As
yeah.
far as
Yeah.
like crazy 80s stuff, that's this.
Definitely recognize this as being the season 3 opening that was on all of the stuff I watched back in college, but I don't remember the opening credit domestic, which is also a season 3 opener, like where that comes from. I was like, is that an unused season 3 opening, or was there actually 2, like one for the?
To me, that it seems like it's season, like it could be a season 4 or something.
Oh my god!
seemed
What?
like it
Oh,
was-
that's right. There is a season 4 with the 3 episodes. Oh, that's probably what it might be, but I'm pretty sure it's still season 3.
Because it just seemed like, okay, well, that third one was amped up, and then this one was like even more like, cleaned up. Like, yeah, now
All right, I can't.
we're back for more awesomeness. We're even better because it's 1989.
All right,
Yes.
1 second. I gotta see.
So it
what
looks like they were
season
made
4
about 3 weeks apart.
Yeah,
3
so
weeks
okay, so yeah, this is
apart.
season 3. That's right, because they're both 1986.
Yeah, one's August 27th,
Oh,
and the other one's
1986,
September
okay.
12th.
Oh, never mind. Yeah, that's right. Because the dates are on all these. How do you? It's like 84,
Oh.
5, 6. How do you not know these are the wrong theme song? It says here at the beginning.
Why did you read it? I should have read it.
So we got 2. 2 of the 5 of these are correct. They're in such random jumping order. Like we have the ending to season 2's theme, but we never see the opening to season 2.
Well, what can we take on this possibility, Shawn, that maybe they
Holy
have
crap.
all the right videos, but maybe the person who put together the DVD didn't know how to map the links to click on the right video.
Well, I don't know. Let's go on to special feature page 5, where we have 5 more special features. Let's see. We have 4 Japanese features, but the first one is called alternate opening sequence.
I like the sound of alternate opening. This is gonna be good. Okay, same music as the one we last watched, but
No, it's
More
actually
forced-
different than season 3 because it's a little slower.
oh, okay.
So
The title card said disco version. It
Disco
doesn't sound
version?
very disco to me. If you notice differences between the two, maybe that's I guess that's what they consider disco.
but it's not an alternate sequence. This is actually the theme song for season 2.
Oh, that's what they actually used.
This is the actual
Oh.
opening to season 2.
Okay.
Nobody
I actually like
checked
this one the best as far as like
Yeah.
the animation. This one seems cool. It's a lot.
Yeah, it's
going
got
on.
these cool rotating effects around the area where people
Yeah,
are.
and like how almost everything transitions into the other almost seamlessly.
There's more forces of nature going on than just transforming, I notice.
Yeah, and there's like that laser at the end, and what's funny
Like
is
there's
even
explosions and like lava bursting out of things and
What's funny is it even seems like the beginning transitions from the first season's theme song because the Transformers logo comes out of the volcano, which the first season ended with this logo coming out of. It's almost like this directly continues from the first season's theme song.
It's cool.
So yeah, unlabeled. But now we get
Oh
now we
boy.
get to the Japanese openings.
Please
So-
don't be chibi.
So we have generic Japanese opening, even though there are 3 Japanese shows and 1 OVA. What's gonna be? Just watch it and see if you like this song and see if you can tell me what you think this is, both of you.
Wow.
B,
Victory.
Victory. And then you got the kid chorus in the background singing behind the main song.
Oh, this reeks of Gotcha Man and Cutie Honey. Like, it's kind of generic for the time period.
Well, Thomas, are you back with us?
Yep.
So that is the theme song for the 3rd Japanese Transformers show, Transformers Victory.
Ah, okay.
And that one's actually pretty fun.
Watching that, this makes me want to watch it. I mean, I know better than to base my expectations off of openings, but that looks good.
What do you think, Charlie? Would you want to watch the show after seeing this theme song?
Yeah, it seems like the same quality as other Japanese shows of that time, of that kind of genre. I
And that's
suppose.
kind of
So-
how
Yeah.
I feel. Is like, okay, this would probably be like, you know, I'll just watch generic anime from that time period. So like, why not watch Transformers from that
Yeah.
time period?
If it just seems like I'd be watching that like Gotcha Man. That sounds like
So it's been completed for a while, but my friend used to do recaps on a website he used to work for, and he did recaps on all 3 Japanese Transformer shows, Headmasters, Master Force, and Victory. And I just remember how he described a lot of the just randomness of Victory's tone, going from the Decepticons killing a whole bunch of people to random comedy scene right after.
I generally don't like that kind of like tonal whiplash that happens in anime, so I'd probably hate this show actually.
Like, it just doesn't know how to incorporate all the tones together, and I'm just like, oh yeah. It's been a while since I watched this, but I do remember that, like, they always make fun of the dinosaur bad guys, yet they're always going off and murdering people on actual episodes. So I don't know how they can be the brunt of a joke when they're actually killing people almost all the time. And yet they're like, oh, dropped anvil on my head or something like that. Somehow they're always the cartoony aspect of the entire show, even though they're the Decepticons.
Hmm.
It's just
Oh,
evil
no.
Dinobots, basically, who are very stupid.
Okay.
But yeah, that show follows the guy in the theme song is like Star Saber, along with the human kid. Only one human kid this time,
Oh, only one human kid this time?
I know. I think sometimes his
Oh
friend shows
no.
up, but it
Just
hurts
think
you.
about like the Sonic the Hedgehog shows, like or movies with the kid. Like just
Well,
one human kid can spoil it,
well, in
or one
Master Force,
princess or something.
in Master Force, guess how many kids there are?
How many, Shawn?
There are 6 kids, 3 good and 3 evil.
I think we should report
Evil
that.
kids.
Yes, evil kids that can pilot their own Decepticons that the Decepticons recruit. And then there are 3 kids on the Autobot side that are recruited by Autobots that control their own Autobots, basically. But they're supposed to be only for, putting out fires and saving civilians. They're not supposed to actually fight and join the battle because they're humans. Got to protect humans.
That's something I haven't seen too much in cartoons back then. Usually you have a group of kids that are good kids and they're on the good side, and the other side's just monsters. It's not usually like some bad kids.
Oh, no, wait. More humans show up. I forget. 4 human adults show up on the good side. Well, hold on. Kids in their early 20s. Because the kids are all headmasters, the heads of the Autobots. Whereas the adults that show up, or young adults, are the motors? Not Motor Masters. Motor Master is an actual Decepticon name. Oh my god, I've forgotten already. Transectors?
Transectors. What is
Whoa.
that?
I don't know. They're the front of the car. They
The
basically
transmission?
I don't even know what they called. It's just another gimmick for toys where they
The
transform.
radiator, water pump, timing belts, the headlights.
Oh god. We should God.
Good
we
one,
should
actually.
watch
The
this
headlights
sometime.
would be
It's- I don't know. I love Master Force and all its absurdity.
Was it Sparkplug? Did he come back? He finally got his due.
No, he'd be in his like 6th at this point. You can skip Japanese opening with Slate because it's just a slate, and then the theme song you already just saw, followed by, get this, a bumper for Master Force after it instead of Victory.
The appointed hero.
The second Japanese show bumper after the theme song for the third Japanese show.
Pretty great special features. This is all just perfect.
All right, I want you to see what Japanese recap is. Let's see if you're prepared for this.
Oh no, I can't even think of what that could be. Let's see.
This is another one I started and closed because like this doesn't make sense.
Hellbat is able to sneak into the Autobots' headquarters, while Starsaber and the others are fighting with Icepick and the dinosaurs. Hellbat intends to steal vital information from the mainframe computer about the Autobot warriors and their weak points. If Hellbat succeeds, this will put the Autobots in a very dangerous position. Mikon and Fix-It bump into him and are captured. What is going to happen next?
Was that actually from the Japanese show? Do they have like a Australian guy read their recap prompt for them, or is that just something somebody
I'm confused.
somebody overdubbed? Or
I've watched all the Japanese show. There's not a single English, and the only English that exists is for Headmasters. This is actually a recap of Transformers Victory. So I'm like, well, who did the dubbing? I'm so confused once I saw this.
It sounded like an Australian guy too, like like an Aussie with a transatlantic like accent or something. Like he was trying to do an American accent.
No, Star Saber. I was right the first time. This is from Transformers Victory, which does not have an English dub. So where the hell did this come from? Is it a fan
So
dub?
it didn't
Like,
make any sense. So it's a Japanese recap. I guess they decided not to just play the Japanese audio. That would have been fine. So they decided to just put in some English, and did they just decide to like recap a random episode of Victory or Headmasters, whatever this is? I don't know.
I don't know. This is the only thing I can't figure out where it came from in the DVD special features, and I thought I would know where all of this came from.
Yeah, so I
That
don't
is
know
just too
who's this
random.
supposed to benefit. Like, what purpose does that serve?
My question, I don't know how many times I wrote WTF next to a lot of these special features.
I mean, maybe they just. I just can't see that, but maybe they're like, okay, maybe it will sound cool to have somebody read the recap in English on this one episode. But yeah, I don't see the benefit, and it's.
I mean, without the
was-
context, it's just completely misleading. It would just lead to
Yeah.
misinformation. Like people would watch this and think that that's what happened or something. Either they didn't know any better and assume that's what happened, or they would just be like, that couldn't have happened, and they would be like us.
Yeah, wouldn't they read that and be like, who is Star Saber? And also, one of them is mistranslated, which makes me wonder, because that's not a Autobot or Decepticon that actually exists. So I don't know who they're referencing because it's
You
not
talking
the
about
correct.
McCone or something like that.
Let me listen to this again, like the end part. What? Ice pick? I don't know what this is. I don't. Yeah, like Charlie. It might.
From the Australian fan dub version of the Japanese
Oh,
Transformers.
there is a fan dub of Victory because I did find it once a decade or so ago. And they did a fan dub, I think, of the first 2 or 3 episodes of Victory. But then once I saw the subtitled episodes were being fan translated, I think I started watching that instead and never actually went back to watching it. I only think I ever watched the first episode dubbing. But God, that was like 2005. I don't even know if that still exists or if you can even find those episodes because I don't have them in my Transformers box. So
Wow.
I would need to find them sometime. I forgot those even existed until we were just talking about it. Uh-oh.
So I had to know what's the deal with. So it's not Hellbent, it's Hellbat. So I needed to know, like, okay, who is Hellbent? What does he actually look like? That's all I wanted to know. That led me to Wikipedia, where I'm looking up, the Autobots and Decepticons. I'm scrolling down, and then I see that the Decepticons have a force. Their squadron is called the Breast Force.
Yes, they have these
Force.
Yes, they have these wing-shaped things that you clip into the center on their breasts because they come out and fold out like sound waves cassettes, only they attach to their chest.
Oh my god.
Which is not a weird thing to say in Japan over there, but is over here. So the last Japanese special feature, we have Japanese scene clip. Tell me if you can make sense instead of just what the point of this 30-second clip, like I mentioned in my notes.
Wow. That was pretty random.
Yeah, and that was also, it's a random clip from Master Force, and it's just not Optimus going over the side of the cliff with the guy driving him going, then he is like, oh, you're injured, the end. Can't even show a cool scene, like somebody fighting, like Optimus that you don't know, fighting, the other guy, so.
Was he coming to the rescue of the falling truck, or is he just...
No, he fell out of it.
It looked like there's a guy that came out, and then he called forth another robot guy, and then...
That was all they had in the vault, and so they just sent it to what's-his-name, and he said, well, it's going on the DVD, print, no edit needed, done.
I don't get it. And he's like, what is he shocked by? Is he shocked by the fact that the truck is squashed, or the fact that the truck has dolphins printed on the side? I'm really confused.
Yeah, me too. But we still got 2 more pages of special features.
Oh my god, there's more.
There's actually a special feature called Script. If you click on Script, you actually miss the first 2 minutes. It's actually the script of Transport to Oblivion, which is also the only special feature that's also on the Shout DVDs. Here's the thing that doesn't make sense. So it says to hit the play button to go to the next page, going against everything that DVDs have usually done, which is to hit the left or right button on your remote, or to hit next chapter to go to the next page. No. Here you hit play, and play immediately goes to page 2 and then automatically stops. Then you hit play again to go to page 3 and it automatically stops, which I have never seen a DVD do before for any of their images, any of their pages, anywhere else.
See? Menu issues.
And once the script ends, this special feature shows up, what I want you guys to watch.
Wait a minute. What are we watching? I'm a bit confused. I'm saying if you don't recognize the language, ask Dr. Rhino.
I actually was like, well, is this in the back of my booklet that summarizes all the episodes in the DVD?
Is what in the back of the booklet?
Is there a section called Ask Dr. Rhino? But no, it's actually to Ask Dr. Rhino, you have to find the answer by going to the Rhino website, which doesn't exist anymore, I don't think.
What? What are we supposed to ask him?
I don't know. And I'm finding out there is a special feature that I missed on the DVD. If I click right from Anomalies, I highlight the Decepticon logo, and then I can hear the Japanese Transformers theme song for the original series, which is Go Fight Transformer, that song. And apparently I did not know that, so now I have to like stop everything and go and do that right now. And apparently there's also another Easter egg on the Transformers script. Apparently people thought it was on the website too, and it's not on the website either, so nobody knows where this Dr. Rhino actually is.
I just found an article. Like I had to just Google it because it sounds intriguing. Someone says on a blog, Transformer box set is Ask Dr. Rhino an Easter egg.
Yeah, it's the same one I saw. The only one that was worth clicking on, right?
I just think that's just entirely funny. I remember I used to go searching for Easter eggs in DVDs back when people buried Easter
Yeah,
eggs.
I used to go to every highlight where it would say chapter 5 and go, well, what happens when I select up and then left and then right and then down? And I'm like, oh God, it highlighted a disc icon, and then you click it and something cool happens.
I've never found one that complicated before, but if you just like use the buttons to get around the screen and just navigate, sometimes you navigate to something that you didn't notice before, like, and you're like, oh, what happened? So I clicked that. Oh wow, a video played that is a secret video. Oh my God. But yeah, that's pretty funny.
Yeah. I'm pretty sure the Shout Factory DVD doesn't have Easter eggs because people stopped doing Easter eggs in the early 2000s or mid 2000s, I want to say.
That's pretty sad because that person actually sounded still excited about it.
Yeah, he was like, I want to know the answer. It's not on the disc. It's not
like,
on the
is
website.
Is it somewhere on the disc? Is somebody else I could go to find
it's not
out
in the
how
brochure
to
that comes with it that
Dr.
summarizes all the
Rhino?
episodes. It's not printed on the back of my my animation cells. I don't know where it is, guys.
That was back in 2002. That poor guy.
But what's funny is it's like you watch all this and it's like these brief 5 or 6 scenes, right, Thomas? And you think, well, is this text actually something? Like the Easter egg is like, oh, we found out that this text actually is this science thing, or this is actually, just, I don't know, Arabic, and it's not really Transformanese or whatever. Stuff like that would be interesting. But instead they're like, oh, just ask Dr. Rhino. I'm like, thanks for that non-special feature.
Somebody actually they reached out to I'm not sure where they asked them. It seemed like it was some Transformers forums that Hasbro had out, and they asked about the Dr. Rhino stuff, and somebody from that website got back to them and said that it means nothing. They just thought it was fun to do that, and they did it, and there's no special meaning behind it.
What?
Which is just like,
oh no,
man, what is going on?
How is it fun? It's telling people to go somewhere to find an answer. That's not fun. That's tricking people into thinking after watching all of your horribly mismanaged, unorganized mess of special features to then be told to go somewhere else to look for information too.
So what it says is the Ask Dr. Rhino phrase was placed in the bubble by some folks who put the box set together as a little wink and a nod. Nothing special is meant by it, and there's no deep meaning behind it either.
Oh,
Nevertheless,
God.
I want to take this opportunity to thank you, Transformers fans, for all your questions and comments.
What?
What?
That was templated.
It doesn't even make sense. It's not even something fun. It just
my
leads to
God.
confusion. It's like this whole DVD is a mess.
Yeah, this is pretty poorly curated, but I mean, for the time period, content may have been hard to come by, though. I mean, you might have had to find, all the stuff you can find on GeoCities and like.
Yeah, let's end with the two special features that are also actually good, which is the BotCon 2001 feature and the interview with Glenn Hallett, the BotCon organizer of 2001. What did you guys think of those two special features?
Yes. Well, I was kind of like, did people dress like that in 2001? And was I dressed like that?
Yeah, you were.
Oh no, that's when I started going to cons around that time. So
Oh,
that
wow.
kind of touched home a little bit. Maybe not that early. Maybe 2002 or 2003. I went to my first con, and they weren't all that well developed. I went to MegaCon in Tampa, and it didn't. It seemed like how many people were there? There might have been maybe there were 500 people there, but there wasn't a lot to do. There was like maybe 3 spaces to hang out in, and then a room full of dealer stuff, but not a whole bunch. It was minimal. Like,
I mean, this BotCon footage actually seemed like it was kind of similar. It actually reminds me of the Transformers convention that me and you went to, Shawn, that one year. That was in where was it? Rockville or Bethesda? No,
Yeah,
it was in like Reston, Virginia, or something like that, right?
yeah, something like that. Yeah,
That actually seemed a little bit bigger than what they were showing.
it was like TF. Was it just was it a TF con? Now I forget. Now I have the bag though, in the closet over there. Actually, it was funny listening to the interview because he says originally it was just a toy convention. That was it. There were no panels. There were no fun things to do. It wasn't like what we think of cons today back in 1990, like four. Like it was just toys, and then it evolved from there as it got more popular to see how they could get more people into it. So I thought like listening, but then it just led for me to have more questions. I was like, so the first con you had toys that were basically overstocked from a canceled line the previous year, and then you started making your own exclusives for the convention, and Hasbro let you do that, but then they said you can't use the names. So what were they making original
Well, no,
Transformers that
well,
didn't exist? I
it
was a little
seemed like they
confused
were
about that.
getting exclusives from Hasbro themselves. So they work with Hasbro to I guess have Hasbro supply them with some stuff.
Well, because it was weird because he said originally they wouldn't let them use the actual Transformers copyright names. So I was wondering if that meant like in the mid 90s they were making their own original Transformers as action figures, or maybe I misunderstood what he was talking about because they said it wasn't until they trusted them that they let them start using more of the Transformers names and work with them on figures that were only available for their cons.
Well, they
Yeah.
to use the Transformers trademarks and all that in their con material, like flyers and stuff like that, or advertisements for the convention coming up. They probably had to do some agreements with Hasbro. Hasbro initially probably didn't want them to do any of that stuff because initially it was just like throwaway stuff. We don't want to be officially recognizing these products that are throwaways that were given to a con as like this isn't actually representative of the quality of product we put out. So they probably wanted to be like loosely affiliated with it until I guess they started getting bigger or they got more comfortable with just the idea of like con exclusive.
It's almost like I just felt like his interview could have even been a little longer to help to describe it more and explain that process more. But because it was just like a 5-minute interview, then 5 or 7 minutes of the con and interviewing random people at the con, which was interesting.
So this BotCon thing seems like it's kind of still going on. The last one was in 2016.
Is this the one that's in Canada all the time, or am I thinking of a different one?
No, you're thinking of a different one. So BotCon seems to be every yearly it would pop up. It pops up in a different state.
Oh, that's the one we went to then.
Well, let's see where the locations were.
Because I remember it was in that same location the next year, and then they moved around again.
I don't remember us going to a BotCon.
But yeah. But I just think it's interesting how they worked up from it then to get celebrities, to get panels, and just like that's cool.
Yeah, so none of these were actually close. So the last one was in Kentucky, Illinois, California.
Maybe it's just TF Con. Maybe it's TF Con is the one we went to.
I think it was like TF Con or something like that.
Yeah.
So for whatever reason, they stopped in 2016, and now I guess they're scheduled to have one in. They wanted to have one in 2021, but it seems like that they're going to postpone it to 2022. So,
okay.
but I was looking this all up because, well, as I was looking this up, I noticed something. So I guess for the con, they decide, I don't know, I guess there's some panel or whatever. People like vote and say, who's going to be in the BotCon Hall of Fame? Who are we going to induct this year? So they induct robots and humans. Those are the two categories. So robots are for the Transformers, like, fan favorites and stuff like that. But then they also have humans, and the humans are usually made up of voice actors or writers and stuff like that, like people who are humans that are connected to the production of Transformers material. Do you know that they inducted Michael Bay before they inducted Frank Welker?
Oh my God.
In their second Hall of Fame, they inducted Michael Bay, and Frank Welker didn't get in until 4 years later.
Yeah, I was just wondering last week actually or so why no one has ever made a documentary on Frank Welker, considering he voices basically everything and also is the highest paid voice actor basically of all time. So I know he's in that one documentary about voice acting, but I don't understand why no one has just done like a documentary on him.
Yeah, I mean, how public is he? Because I mean, he is older, so maybe he just, I don't know, he's just of a generation where he just wants to just do his work and doesn't want to be bothered.
Like I was just telling my sister, Aladdin is her favorite thing, and I was telling her that so Frank Welker is the guy who not only voices Abu, he also voices Raja the tiger, and he's the Cave of Wonders, and you don't recognize that he's three completely different, and he's a background voice as well. So he voices four completely different characters in Aladdin, and you didn't know that he's four different people.
I mean, that doesn't surprise me. I mean, he's in everything. I mean, he did voices in Porco Rosso. He was in Beauty and the Beast. He was in Gremlins. He was in Dick Tracy. He's in everything, just any random stuff. He was in Stargate. Come on, he was in everything.
Wait, I just watched Stargate. Where was he in Stargate?
He was Mastadge. I don't know how to pronounce that. Mastadge. I don't know how to pronounce it.
I don't even know who you're talking about, unless it's like the clicking noises before they take their helmets off.
The Stargate film.
Yes. Okay, it must be the noises the aliens make before they take their helmets off.
Some of these characters don't seem like they're like prominent characters in shows. I mean, I'm looking at, he was in a Goofy movie and he played Bigfoot. Bigfoot didn't really have a lot of lines. It was mostly just it was just sounds, just grunting. Really. Yeah, exactly, grunting.
Well, what was that special feature? There was another special feature from a cartoon I was watching where they said, well, we need an animal voice, so the first thing you do is call up Frank Welker.
I'm actually, so I just noticed he was in Balto and he played a grizzly bear, so he just made animal sounds.
Maybe he's just good at growling.
He was credited as animal sounds in Jumanji. Yeah. He was a baby bird in The Hunchback of Notre Dame.
Is he Malbolgia in the Spawn movie?
Let's see. Yes, he was.
All right. Because that's the demon voice. That's his one go-to, like, evil demon voice that I've actually hear a few times in some other things, which is actually just like a really cool, evil, deep but scowling kind of voice.
Wow. So you mentioned he was in Aladdin as those three characters.
Mm-hmm.
So there was the Aladdin remake that came out in 2019. He did those same three characters again. So in two movies, he did the three characters both times. So that's the live action and then the cartoon original. He was Abu, Raja, and the Cave of Wonders.
God, I wish I almost was like, I almost was gonna say it'd be willing to watch the movie, and I'm like, no. I'd rather just go on YouTube and find a clip of all of his scenes, and that's it. I don't want to watch that movie.
The Tom and Jerry movie that's coming out, he is the voice of both Tom and Jerry.
Oh, no.
Okay.
All right. Sorry.
That takes incredible talent.
Too off track. We're trying to find more fun things to talk about than these special features. I understand. But so on a scale of 1 to 10, Charlie, how would you rate these special features?
Oh, you're asking me to rate these special features?
Yeah, like, how did you love these special features compared to other special features on DVD, on anime, on Blu-ray?
I gotta say that 45-minute long comparison of the two video qualities was gripping. I mean, I should pop some popcorn and like rewatch that. Like, man, I would give that 9.92.
Oh god. Now you're just lying to yourself and to the viewers.
Oh, these clips. Well, oh man. I like when they find some Japanese content that you probably wouldn't see the light of day in America unless it was on something like this. But I actually had some better trailers on that Rose of Versailles DVD I had. Remember, I gave you a copy of that one. But yeah, that had some amazing Japanese trailers. Just so many. I'm like, where they get these from? But yeah. I would say if I were buying this box set back in that time, I would.
You spent $60 on it, and these are your special
Yeah,
features. Maybe 80
I
bucks.
I think I would enjoy maybe a third of these. The rest is like just it's lame. But I can't say that special features back then weren't lame. I mean, a lot of times you'd get something that's good, like, oh, I want to watch that again, 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 and but rarely that would happen. There'd be like one thing on each thing that seems like you could rewatch it, and the rest is just I'll never look at that again after I've explored my DVD set for the first time.
So, Thomas, how do you rate? Wait, so Charlie, if you had to rate these on a scale of 1 to 10, or did you just want to say that if you spent $60 on this box set, would you say these special features are worth it if you don't want to do a rating?
Oh, well, these special features, I mean, I'd rate them as maybe a 4 out of 10.
Ooh.
3 out of 10. Just because I'd say 30% is watchable and the rest is just.
Yeah. Thomas, what about you? Your thoughts on this mess?
At least they're special features. We can say that. I mean, there were many DVDs that came out and didn't have anything. So on a scale of 0 to 10, where 0 is Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles, the movie that had nothing, and I was desperate for anything.
Well, you got to buy the UK DVDs.
Yeah,
Oh,
apparently. And 10 is Lord of the Rings, which basically has like 8 hours of special features per disc almost.
Oh my god!
There's like a mini documentary on each one of those discs. It's insane.
Oh, yeah. Thomas, I'll let you on a little secret. I watched The Hobbit and all of its special features during the COVID quarantine.
Oh,
I was
geez.
actually thinking about getting into it because I had the original. Well, my brother had it, so when we were living together, he had it. So I tried to watch the extended version and
Oh yeah.
all the special features. So I can get through the extended stuff. Watching the special features on those sets.
Yeah. So it's first there's the audio commentary for all 3 movies for The Hobbit,
Right.
and then there's 2 separate special features for The Hobbit. Each of the 3 movies, half of the 5 to 6 hours. So 5 to 6 hours is the filming process based on the order in how they filmed the scenes. I don't think it's into the scenes they appear in the movie. I don't think it's in chronological order. So it's the order they appeared in the actual movie that you watched, like as you're filming it, and what they did during that day. And that takes 5 to 6 hours 3 times. And then the other 5 to 6 hours for each of the 3 movies is just like The Hobbit 3rd movie had a whole special feature of all the original characters they made for those movies.
Mhm.
Followed by I remember the 2nd movie had a whole hour feature of Smaug and how they designed him and everything. And like
Oh, God.
Jesus,
and that's only 1 hour out of 5 hours of other special features that were on there. And it's usually only 3 to 5 special features, and each of them is just really long because they dedicate all this time to it.
Yeah, the Lord of the Rings stuff, it's really exhaustive. I mean,
Yeah.
I guess what I've seen is that there's about across the 3 movies, there's probably like 24 hours worth of content.
Yeah. Well, so
That's what I
with
was
The
thinking,
Hobbit,
like 20 hours.
so I watched The Hobbit. If you watch the movie with the commentary, that's 5 hours times 3. And then the special features are 12 hours times 3.
Jeez.
So you're looking at 36 hours for special features and 15 hours at movie plus commentary.
There are only 2 parts of The Hobbit, right? There was the
3
part 1 and 2.
parts to the
Was there a
Hobbit.
part 3 of
Three.
The Hobbit? There was
Yes,
a third
there's
Hobbit
3
movie?
Hobbit movies.
They're trilogies.
Hmm.
What about Lord of the Rings? Did it have as much special? I
I
didn't even
haven't. I
watch
never bought
the-
them, so I don't know. I
It
just
had a
know
lot.
they're
It
I
huge.
had
have
a lot of
those
different stuff.
extended also.
So
but-
I've never watched documentaries.
I don't want to
for
go down
it.
that hole now. I've already
Yeah.
finished The Hobbit. It took me so long. It took me like 3 months to do all this. And like
Yeah,
my like Marcel and I watched all 3 of those movies, one every day for 3 days, and then it took me like 6 months to watch all those special features.
Do you want my Harry Potter box set? I just feel like I'm never gonna watch it.
No, because if I have it, then I'll be forced to watch the special features, and I don't like
that seems insane.
even
I
Harry
just
Potter
can't
that much.
get them.
But then it'll be mine,
like it that
and I'll
much.
have to watch
I
it.
can't get around to watching them, and I bought it
Yeah.
from a
I
friend.
do need to see the final movie. I haven't seen 7 Part 1 and 7 Part 2 yet.
I haven't
so.
seen any Harry Potter movie. I haven't seen any Harry Potter anything.
Hey,
Not even
I
like
saw the
clips.
first
Charlie,
one in the
Charlie,
theater, and I
there's
didn't
this
even know.
there's this
like,
thing we have. It's called regifting during Christmas.
Oh yeah.
And Thomas, hasn't seen the Harry Potter movies.
Oh,
Nope.
yeah.
Nope.
Ah, hey, you're right, Shawn. What a brilliant idea.
I don't know what you could imply from those 2 sentences together, back to back like that, but
You know what? By this time next year, we could have a Harry Potter fan among us.
oh god.
I mean, is it gonna be my trash can
One Harry Potter
when I
fan.
regift that box set was to the trash? No, I don't. That seems 1. I don't want all of that. 2. That's gonna take up. I have 1 bookshelf that I keep limited. The only stuff that I keep physically is stuff that's like some of my favorite, most connected stuff.
Yeah,
And that will
exactly.
never be Harry Potter.
that's why I need to give Shawn back his High School of the Dead books. Unless I
What
already...
high school? You already gave them to me. I gave them
Oh.
to Goodwill.
I was gonna give them to the library if they were still here. I was like,
Oh,
I'm
I
putting these
should-
to the
I
library
should've done
drop.
that. I gave them to Goodwill
That's
because
the
I
same
was like,
thing.
yeah, I already have them now in the Kickstarter bigger graphic novel forms the way they were published, so now I don't need them anymore.
Because
All
they're,
right,
they're
so-
so long.
so
So
anyway.
I rate them as the features as a 3. We've already gotten off on a long tangent already. We
Yeah.
can't do this again.
Yeah, so I did that too. Like, the fact that these were not really well edited, like, it doesn't seem like there was any editing. Like what I told you, like, the one part shows up, 3 things show up duplicated in that 47-minute thing for the restoration process.
Right.
And there's a lot of stuff without context, and a lot of the stuff says it's this, but it's really something else because they didn't label it correctly. So, like, when you look at the finished product, it just is bad, even though there is a lot of content on it. But just because there's a lot of content, it makes me feel that it doesn't mean it's good. So it's like, I like the last 2, the BotCon. I like the mistakes where the guy actually spent the time to freeze frame and show you all the problems for 13 minutes and actually was a fun special feature. And like describing how they made the process for 5 minutes. Those were the only 4 things I really liked in the special features.
Yeah, I'm not going to fault him too much because, like I said before, it is early, and apparently it sounds like what you said, that there are the rest of the box sets also have special features, so maybe there's some more worthwhile stuff there to make the whole package overall a little bit better.
Yeah, because I remember on a Black Friday when my family and I used to shop, getting season 2 part 1 at Radio Shack for a discount and watching it in college, and all I remember is a scene like the Abnormalities one where all it is 10 minutes of all the animation screw ups throughout season 2 part 1. And that's all I remember. I don't remember any other special features but that one. And I've since got rid of that, but now it doesn't matter because I got it back again. So I was able to do this podcast because I got them all now. So I found them all on Facebook Marketplace for $40. So now I have all 4 box sets from Rhino and all the Shout DVDs. Now all Transformers ever. So, but anyway, that's it for this episode, I think. We should probably sign off before we start talking more about tangents about other things.
Oh, okay.
Because this has been a long episode. So I hope you've enjoyed our look at these special features and been able to put up with my excessive ranting on just the quality of these special features. So signing off, this is Shawn.
Charlie,
And Thomas?
is there Thomas? You said Thomas as a question?